I brought you some food. You have to eat something. You barely touched your food yesterday. Come on, please. Just leave it there. Her hands aren't bound. She can eat whenever she pleases. But she's not going to last much longer. The boy has a point. If she won't eat, we lose our supply of blood. That's not what I mean. Leave it there. Now, we'll be back. Do you really have to go? Yeah, things are pretty hectic right now. And when do you suppose you'll be back? Tomorrow, same time as today. And you'll have enough time to talk then? Will you... Yeah. Are you hiding something from me? You're acting kind of funny. You're my sister. I wouldn't keep anything from you. You're not yourself, though. What's so different about me? Well, you're not acting much like a prince. Right, of course. Don't worry, I'm still your prince, same as always. Good night, Nellie. My princess. How did I end up in this mess? I never wanted this. All I wanted was a quiet life. Someone, get me out of here. Take this thing somewhere far away. Tell me, I'm not the bad one here. Oh God, I'm begging you. Just make it all go away. Someone, anyone, get me out of here. Look. The stars, they're beautiful. Though with it so bright out, I worry someone might see us. Everyone's long gone. I hope so. Are you ashamed? A little, but I still want to be with you. Have you ever considered leaving the convent? You can't just stop being a nun, you know. It's not that simple. I've made vows, sworn my life to the service of God. I was not aware. I don't know much about this land's traditions. If I were to leave the church, it would have to be in my next life. I'd like to be a normal girl, lead a normal life. Get married, have kids, and before I know it, I'm an old lady. Thinking it was an uneventful life. It was the best I could have asked for. That's my dream. That sounds very peaceful. I hope we can be together in our next lives too. Have a nice, quiet life together. So I need to chime in here. Christian doctrine doesn't really teach next lives. They teach entrance into heaven. It would be Buddhism or, I don't know if Shintoism has reincarnation in it, but this is a mistake, and a pretty big one. It'll be a city on the water, looking out over a beautiful glimmering emerald sea. Blue sky spreading as far as the eye can see. The sound of the seabirds squalling by the port. The two of us sitting shoulder to shoulder, just looking out over the city. Doesn't that sound wonderful? It certainly does. I would love that. The Harvest Festival. On the day of the festival. Three days until her death. Wake up. Please wake up. Come on. Open your eyes. Michelle. So bright. I'm outside. The light feels like needles in my eyes. The first thing I see beyond the mansion's darkness is blinding light. The sun glares mercilessly overhead. A gentle breeze blows past, and I can hear birds chirping from several different directions. Each breath I take fills my lungs with the scent of earth and grass. So much time has passed since I've been in the light. I almost feel like I'm alive again. No, not almost. What's going on? What on earth is this? That Fata Morgana lived? Michelle? Thank goodness, you can hear me. Good morning, Master. I hope you slept well. Giselle, is that voice really you? I swear it's me 100%. Not that mean old phony. So don't you worry. No, I believe it's you. I just was not expecting to be able to hear you here. I did say I would always be by your side. I'm relieved. But where are you, Giselle? I can't see you anywhere. Well, I'm not exactly sure myself. You don't know? I don't know how to describe it. It's pitch dark all around me, like a black smoke churning in the darkness. Feels a lot like the inside the mansion. But I don't think I'm actually in the mansion. So you're still trapped in the void, then. I can see a shimmering light off in the distance through the fog, and I can hear sounds coming from that direction. It's like the outside world is leaking through the light. I can see the trees rustling, hear birds singing. I can't see you, though, so I assumed I was seeing through your eyes. I thought I'd try getting your attention. So that means you can see everything I can. Seems so. No, I don't think I can see quite as clearly as you. I wish you could be here to feel this too, experience it in my place even. It's a bizarre sensation. While I could see and feel the world through the other doors, it was strictly in the capacity of an observer. We were merely watching, not actually present in the tales. But this time, it's like I've been resurrected and dropped into the world as a participant. It's all so vivid. Everything the mansion lacked, it's all clear and I can feel it so clearly. I wish you could have been the one to experience this. It's okay, Michelle. I know you'll dispel this darkness I'm in, won't you? I will. I'm more than happy just being able to hear your voice. And being able to see what you see. It's like a miracle. I too am glad to know you're there. To have the chance to hear your voice again. Thank you so much for saving me. If you hadn't shown up, I wouldn't be here. No, I should be thanking you. I was overjoyed to learn how much you really cared about me. There's so many things I want to say right now. So many things I want you to know. So many thank yous. And so many I love yous. Hey now, is that really the best response you've got? Surely you can do better than that. You're embarrassing me. I am somewhat disappointed by one thing, though. I can't get any hugs or kisses since I'm not there in person. Oh, come on. You're not very good at this, are you? And you're not very good at picking up on how much you're embarrassing me. I'd expect, at the very least, a me too. We should start by figuring out when and where exactly this is. You're not even trying, are you? I'm doing the best I can. Please don't ask any more than this of me. It's okay, though. I might not be able to see you, but we're together either way. You know, Michelle, I think I might be able to help too. While I can't be there in person, I can give you ideas. Another point of view when you're not sure about something. With the two of us together, we'll find a way through this. Yes, we will. Where to begin? What do you say we get our bearings? List out exactly what we need to take care of. That's not a bad idea. I'm a bit frazzled at the moment, to tell you the truth. What? Why? I had assumed we would just be observers, like the other doors, searching their memories for clues. I never expected I'd actually be thrown into their era. True, it's not at all like the other doors. No matter how the rules may change, I'm seeing this through to the end. If our guess is correct and we've arrived at Morgana's past, then we need to uncover the truth behind those events. Or rather, the three men's circumstances. What they felt, what drove them. My gut tells me there's something to be found there that even Morgana doesn't know. I could be wrong, and it's possible that even if I am right, what we find won't do anything to quell her hatred. But we won't be talking her out of it, that's for sure. Words won't break through that kind of animosity. We need something bigger. Something she could have never imagined. Something that will turn her entire worldview on its head. The white-haired girl might be a good place to start. She showed up at the mansion again and again as though she was led there by some supernatural force. And she was involved with all three men in some way. I can't think of anyone else with such deep ties to both the mansion and the men. But at the same time, I have a hard time convincing myself that the Morgana we know and the white-haired girl could be the same person. They are about as too different as two people can be. Which actually leads me to believe there's something there. There must be something. Some secret we haven't figured out yet that we can use. So let's find it. It won't be easy. If we are in the past, though, I wonder, maybe we could change it. This could be a huge chance for us. Change the past. Yeah, we could prevent Morgana's death, or we could stop whoever led them down this path. There's an idea. If it's actually possible, maybe we can do something. The question is this world really? Now I'm getting kind of pumped. I've got my game face on and I'm ready to do this. Doesn't do much good if no one can see it. It's a figure of speech. Okay, first things first, we need to find the mansion. Morgana should be at the top of the observation tower, and the three men shouldn't be too far off either. So the question is, where are we? Do you recognize the surroundings at all? I never really left the mansion, so I'm not especially familiar with the lay of the land. Give me a little spin, would you? As she requests, I slowly spin around in a circle. And through the dense woods, I spot a cluster of what appears to be stone formations. Squinting to get a better look, I realize they're buildings. It's decently far off, but it appears to be the edge of a city. I think that might be the village I stayed at for a while. It's a bit big for a village. Don't you remember what Amade said about the village's history? Amade, that bastard. Michelle, you didn't think something uncharacteristically vulgar now, did you? Wouldn't dream of it. Yes, I remember. He said it was once much larger, and that it was destroyed in a single week by the witch's curse. Except rather than a curse, it was probably disease. If that's the same city, then it fits with what Morgana said happened. I believe he also said something about there being a large bridge on the outskirts of the city, and that following that path from there would lead you to the mansion. So let's head down to the city. Alright. You don't sound very enthusiastic. Are you nervous you might have to talk to someone? Don't worry, you got me here. Don't treat me like I'm antisocial. You're not? No, that's not what's bothering me. It's something about this whole thing feels off. This world we're in. Never mind. I'm probably overthinking things. But now's not the time for that. We need to get moving. Let's go. Rather than waste time fretting over details, we need to get to the mansion like she said. Everything else comes after that. With each step, I can feel the earth compressing beneath my feet, the grass flattening. As I weave my way through the trees toward the city, the sensation of having a living, flesh and blood body slowly returns. Um, uh? A white-haired man just appeared out of nowhere. And he's talking to himself. I gotta get away before he does something. Hold it right there, Mell. You don't get to call me crazy and then just run off. How do you know my name? How? Why wouldn't I? We were just in the mansion together. Mansion? What are you talking about? Right, he hasn't become the shadow in the mansion yet. I doubt I'd forget someone as unusual as you. Who are you? And where did you come from? Where? I'd like to know that myself. Say something, Michelle. He's not getting any less suspicious of you. You have to go with some way to break the tension. Improvisation isn't exactly my strong suit. I was sleeping in a tree. I think this is the dead end, I'm not sure. It sure looked like he popped out of nowhere. You imagined it. It was so sudden your mind misinterpreted what you saw. Is that too much of a stretch? Yeah, you're right. I must have been seeing things. People can't just appear out of thin air. On nice days like this, I sometimes climb a tree and take a nap too. And then roll over and fall flat on my face. So I can relate. Michelle napping in a tree. You can't even imagine it. Me neither. Also, it seemed that, like Morgana's, I'm the only one who could hear Giselle's voice. But that doesn't explain how you know my name. You know. You look like an acquaintance of mine. Imagine my surprise when it turns out the two of you have the same name, too. That's definitely pushing it. Yeah, that happens to me every now and then, too. Jeez, you had me spooked for a second there. Well, on one hand, I'm glad he bought it. I feel perhaps he's a little too trusting. He's the kind of guy who just keeps on walking when he runs across something out of the ordinary, pretending he didn't see a thing. Not the most admirable of traits, but we're in the clear. I assume you're from the city, then, if you're out here. Actually, no, I'm a wanderer of sorts. Oh. Did you come by to see the Harvest Festival, then? Harvest Festival? You don't know about it, then? 3 days from now, we're holding a festival at the church to celebrate the spring harvest. 3 days. Morgana died when the bell tolled noon on the day of the festival, which means she's got that much time left. That'll be the first time we've held the festival, so we're hoping to make it into a big event, something really memorable. And a young girl is dying behind the scenes of this seemingly pleasant celebration. If her death is 3 days from now, that might give us enough time to do something about it. Could I ask you to show me the way to the church? I would like to join in on the festivities. Sure, yeah. Of course. The church's doors are open to all, friends and family and wanderers alike. It's not far, follow me. Thank you. It didn't occur to me until now. This really is a strange experience. This is a boy from a completely different time period, who I would have never had the opportunity to meet. If he's here, then presumably the other two are as well, which means Morgana's wish for their reconstruction was actually granted. This Mell doesn't seem any different a person than the one I observed through the first door. Yet he played a part in Morgana's imprisonment. I have trouble believing he would voluntarily involve himself, though. I was scared for a minute there. That could have gone a lot worse. Plus, we managed to make contact with Mell in record time. She's interacted with him and the others before, so I guess this doesn't feel as strange to her. You don't want him to hear you talking to yourself again. That's why you're not saying anything to me, isn't it? Actually, I think I can talk to you without speaking. Can you hear me? How are you doing that? I have a lot of experience talking to ghosts. That really drives home how bizarre things were for you in that mansion. Were you not in similar circumstances when it was you and Morgana together? Yeah, now that you mention it, what a bizarre time we both had in that mansion. You're just now realizing this. So what's your impression of him? My impression that he's the same Mell as always? In a little more detail? He's an amicable young man. Nice enough to show a complete stranger around. I agree. In Morgana's version of the story, he betrayed her. But he doesn't even like the kind of person... He doesn't seem like the kind of person who would enthusiastically do something so malicious. He had to have some reason, and we need to figure out what that was. The question is, how do we go about it? We hardly have enough time to earn his trust and convince him to tell us himself. I'll just have to put the knowledge I already have to good use. That reminds me. Something that might explain it? No, about Morgana. When you were alive, she was always right there with you, like I am now, right? Whenever it struck her fancy, yes. She didn't seem to care when or where. She would just start talking whenever she felt like it. Whenever? For the most part, yes. Anytime she wanted. Giselle. You don't have to worry about that with me. I know when to keep my mouth shut, promise. What? You said you feel like you're alive again, right? My 5 senses all seem to be in working order. Which means you'll also be getting hungry, tired, sleepy, and you'll, you know... You'll have to go to the bathroom. I'll be polite and close my eyes and plug my ears while you're doing it. Thanks. What would possess her to bring that up? Does she even realize what she's saying? Gosh, now I'm red as a tomato. And that answers that. Moving right along. We need to discuss how we're going to go about this. Right, that. The Harvest Festival is our deadline, which doesn't give us very much time. We need a plan for when we arrive at the mansion. How about we spill their secret, tell everyone about the girl that got locked up in the tower and force them to set her free? Surely they wouldn't stand for that. Perhaps. But would anyone believe me? If I walked in and said I came from the future, and that I know what's going to happen, would anyone actually buy that? Sure, with enough convincing. Even if I did manage to convince them, the tower was locked in Morgana's rendition of the tale. You need 3 keys to get inside. Mell should have one of them, but stealing his alone won't be enough to get into the tower. True. If Giselle is right, and we can save Morgana and change the future, then that would indeed solve everything. But something about this whole situation doesn't sit right with me. I have to do more than just set her free of that tower. I have to find the truth as well, as I initially set out to do. Regardless, I would like to try and stay on everyone's good side as much as possible for now. Okay, I'll do whatever I can to help. I appreciate it. I mean, as you know, conversation is not exactly my strong suit. Which means it's my job to hit the brakes whenever you say something stupid. It's a bit too late if I've already said it. Anyway, step 1 is to get ourselves into the mansion. We can't hope to make contact with the other 2 men, much less Morgana out of theirs, if we're not staying nearby. I'll do what I can. We're almost there. See the big building in the distance? That's the church. It is the same mansion as I suspected. Seeing it now, knowing what horrible things happen there, it is so disheartening. Are happening as we speak. In the tower, we see in the distance. Morgana's locked up, all alone. I wish we could just march in there and set her free. If getting to the tower were our only goal, we could probably force our way in with a little work. Is something the matter? Mell, I could probably overpower him and get his key. Hello? But the other 2, that almost certainly wouldn't work for. Can you hear me? Oh, yes, sorry. I was lost in thought. Seems kind of strange, doesn't it? What does? I mean, it doesn't look much like a church. At a glance, you think it was some noble's estate. So it does. I spent so long there, it never even occurred to me. I was pretty surprised when I first saw it myself. A peculiar place, all told. There's a chapel inside the mansion with this gorgeous stained glass window. It's quite the sight. Do you know why it was built like that? I'm not actually sure myself, no. Anyway, I'll show you to the chapel. The Saintess should be there too, so I can introduce you. The Saintess? You never heard of her? Everyone around here knows her. She's a nun at the church, and everyone calls her the Saintess. She's practically her own religious figure. Oh, he's not talking about Morgana. You'll just have to see for yourself. Come on. Alright. On our way to the mansion, we passed through a courtyard of sorts. When I lived here, the area was overgrown with weeds. Apparently, they keep it in better condition in this era. Following Mell's lead, we head through the chapel's entrance. Oh my. I'm at a loss for words when I see what lies on the other side of those all-too-familiar doors. All is barely recognizable as a place of worship in my memory. Just 2 columns of battered pews and some piles of rubble. The room I'm looking at now is unequivocally a chapel. So this is what it looked like. I wonder how far back this is from when we lived. It has to be more than a decade or two. Maybe 100 years or more. The views and beliefs about the world prevalent in our time are not so different than those of this time. Perhaps the chapel was destroyed in the aftermath of the Harvest Festival. When I was first sent to the mansion, there were signs that repairs had been attempted. The stained glass window is behind the pulpit. I'm guessing, though, we can't see it from here. And right next to it is the door to the observation tower. There she is. There's no priest here. She runs the church. You'll want to talk to her first if you're planning to participate in the Harvest Festival. I'll go fetch her for you. Whisking his way between the pews, the boy disappears into the back of the chapel, returning with a nun in tow. When I see her, my face twists for a brief moment. Good afternoon. You came to see the festival, I hear. It's wonderful to have you. Is that who I think it is? I'm all but certain at this point that all the major players from behind the 3 doors are present here. Not just the 3 men whose shadows remain in the mansion, but also the women who are important parts of their lives. Though dressed differently, the way she speaks and the way she holds herself resembles the woman killed by her lover behind the second door. They're all connected. We thought were 3 separate tales, all stretched back to a single point in time before our own. Is there something the matter? No, I was just thinking how usual it is for one nun to be managing an entire church all by herself. Yes, that's the usual reaction from new visitors. Even I think this assignment is a bit over my head. Assignment? Well, I was at another church before this one. A smaller building, and I wasn't the only nun. The Lord of the Land ordered me to transfer to a new, larger church he was opening. So here I am. The Lord. There's plenty of space on the property, more than enough to provide shelter for orphan children and aid for the sick. It seems rather vacant from what I've seen. Yes, about that. We used to take people in, but circumstances have made that difficult of late. What kind of circumstances? It's not something I can discuss with an outsider, sorry. I'm guessing it has to do with Morgana's imprisonment here. Do you think she knows about Morgana? I would guess not. The men swore to keep it between the 3 of them. So she's being forced to oversee the mansion, completely oblivious of what's happening here. Which isn't to say she's not connected to it in some way. If she's the girl from the second tale, then she should be close with... Is something troubling you? No, my apologies. I got lost in thought. You don't look it, but you're actually a bit of a daydreamer, aren't you? daydreamer. Mell would fit that description much better. Mell would fit that description much better. What? Why? Do I really look like that much of an airhead? I can see that. Someone has to watch out for him, or he's likely to lose his head in the clouds. I really don't think I'm that spacey. I'm not trying to say you're spacey, I just feel like I've got to keep one eye on you at all times. It's a lot like what I imagine having a little brother would be like. I am an oldest child, you know. What's the big deal? You don't want a big sister? Well, I want you to be my little brother. I don't want to just be a capital S sister to you. That's so stiff and formal. No, I want to be your sister. I'm a little old to be playing make-believe. Oh, come on. They're quite friendly with one another, it would seem. I know. Why don't you become her brother, then? What? Will you? I will not. Besides, I'm clearly the oldest one here. Why not? I don't think it matters who's older than who. You don't really act all that old anyway. I have at least 10 years on you. Your youngest child insecurity showing... insecurity? You two are pretty good friends, huh? We can discuss the veracity of that claim later. I would like to ask you a favor. What is it? I'll gladly help with anything I can. Could I perhaps borrow a room until the day of the Harvest Festival? I don't have anywhere to stay, or a source of income for that matter. I know I'd be taking advantage of your generosity, but I only mean to intrude for a few days. I would be more than happy to offer you a place to stay, at any other time. But right now, I can't let you stay here. I'm so sorry. Well, damn, so much for that. Don't let one little no stop you. Keep pushing. Put on a show, earn her sympathy. She's a lady of the cloth. If you make her feel bad for you, she'll offer you her aid. Put on a show? You expect me to act? I'm having another episode. I was so sure this church would be able to help. That's not going to convince anyone. Quiet, you. He was perfectly fine on our walk here. Shut your mouth, boy. As I said, we did once offer a place of respite for the alien and needy. But regrettably, for the time being, we are unable to take anyone in. What I can do, though, is give you medicine. Since we can't let people stay here, with the Lord's generous assistance, we've been handing out medicine instead. So all you do here, then, is give people medication. Yes, I suppose that's what it boils down to. I'm honestly not sure why we're not allowed to offer shelter right now. We are still able to provide assistance to those in need, so I assume it's just a temporary measure, and we'll be able to take care of people. We'll be able to take people in again before long. And with how much he's done for the church, it's not really my place to complain about his decisions. I am truly sorry. I hope you understand. I'm supposed to ask for a tithe in exchange normally, but just this once, it's yours, free of charge. Could you tell me more about this medicine, please? It's called Saint's Blood, and it'll cure any disease. Saint's Blood? It's not real blood, of course. That's just what it's called. It sure sounds divine, doesn't it? No, that's not true. Huh? It is real blood. What? What do you... Sorry to butt in. Do you mind if I bring him back to my room? I don't think I mentioned it, but he's an old friend of mine. We've got a lot of catching up to do. All right. Come on, this way. Well, that sure got the reaction out of him. And now he's incredibly leery of you. When she mentioned the blood, I couldn't stop myself. I probably should have kept my mouth shut, though. Mell doesn't say a word the entire way. His smile has retreated, and there's a hint of fear lurking beneath his now stony expression. I spend the trek through the mansion's corridors, pondering how to answer the questions I know are coming. How to solve the problem I put myself in. We enter a bedroom, presumably his, and he closes the door behind us. I can see the distrust in his eyes as he glares at me. I have to ask, who exactly are you? Why did you say that back there? That saint's blood is actual blood. In response to his pressing eye, let's go ahead and drop a save here. So we have to go all the way back to 2 months ago. And, well, the heroic thing is to tell the truth. I know Mell feels immense remorse about his involvement in Morgana's imprisonment, so I decided it's best to tell him everything. His shade in the mansion begged for me to save him. If he knows what I know, maybe this Mell will seek my help as well. Perhaps I'm being rash, but it's worth a shot. Alright, I'll tell you everything. It might sound crazy, but I promise you, everything I'm about to tell you is the truth. I am not from this time. What? I have come here from a point in time after Morgana's death. How do you know about... I know everything. Morgana told me about what happened here. What will happen here. You and 2 other men imprisoned her at the top of the observation tower, eventually leading to her death. At this point in time, she should still be alive, but she will not be for much longer. When the bell tolls noon on the day of the Harvest Festival, Morgana's life will come to an end. And when she dies, she will do so in the grips of overwhelming hatred. A hatred that will transform her soul into a true witch. The 3 of you will become the targets of that hatred, the targets of her curse. And by the power of that curse, you will be drawn back to this place in your next lives, where great suffering and misery awaits you. Everything you're saying is going right over my head. Our next lives? Her soul a witch? Every word of it is true. Did anything I say contradict your experiences? The 3 of you have Morgana imprisoned in the tower. You drain her of her blood, which you then claim is a medicine called Saint's Blood, which you give out in exchange for tithes. Am I wrong about any of that? I am here to save Morgana, to set her free of that tower and her hatred, which will consequently set your souls free as well. I know you're not proud of what you've done. Lend me your hand in freeing Morgana, and tell me your story. Tell me how you came to be involved in her imprisonment. This is not the path you wish to take, I'm certain of that. You wanted blood for your sister, yes? But you're not the kind of man who would think severing another's arm was acceptable. You had to have some reason for it. Please, give me your assistance. Tell me your tale. Saving her will save you too. I only want what's best for you. Could you give me a moment? This is all so sudden. I'm having trouble wrapping my head around it. But I do get one thing, that you know what we've been doing. Give me some time to process it. I'll have an answer for you tonight. Please, I'll make the right decision. I just need time to convince myself. I understand. Wait here until I come back, would you? It's almost sundown, so it shouldn't be long. Tonight, I'll tell you what I can. Once I've made sense of everything, I'm sure I'll be able to shake hands. So just relax here for a bit. I'll be waiting. Thanks. See you tonight. Tonight. Well, he seemed to believe it. Thankfully, I was worried he wouldn't. I knew he wasn't happy being a part of this. He desperately wanted out. And you gave him that opportunity. I can only hope. He said he'd help, so let's give him the benefit of the doubt and see what happens when he comes back. Perhaps I'm just being paranoid, but it feels like that went over too easily. No, I made the right decision. Hello, are you there? May I come in? You may. Sorry it took so long. Not at all. You did say it would be night when... What? Is this the man? Never seen him before. You. It's them. What is the meaning of this, Mell? Where the hell did you get your information? Michelle? I came from the future. In my time, Morgana is already dead. I'm here to set her free, to erase... You spilled it, Mell, didn't you? No, I didn't. Why do you think I would told you about him? So you knew it didn't come from me. I can't believe he... Mell, how could you? What happened to everything you said earlier? That you would make the right decision, that you would help. You two friends? For the 1000th time, I met him in the forest this afternoon. I'd never seen him before then. Then who told him? It wasn't me. I have nothing to gain from talking. True enough. He's just messed up in the head, that has to be it. He has all these crazy delusions. Souls turning into witches, the next life. He's mad, I tell you. I thought he believed us. Mell, am I wrong that you feel remorse? Am I wrong that you don't want to be involved in this? You shouldn't be adding to your list of wrongdoings. You should be doing what you know is right and let Morgana go. Are you sure you're not friends? I swear to God. If he was a friend, why would I snitch on him? You're not one to let friendship get in the way of what you truly desire. I would never... Michelle, we have to get out of here. If he so much as twitches like he's going to run, cut him in half. Michelle, maybe you'll come to your senses if you know exactly how what you're doing now will affect your next lives. Morgana comes to bear such incredible loathing for each of you that the people you care for. Who, pray tell, lives life fearing how it affects their next? You were right, he's out of his mind. Listen. You chose the wrong man for your little sermon. Next life, souls? Damn it. How can I get them to believe me? I've seen it all, but they don't have any of those memories. How can I convince them to believe something that hasn't even happened to them yet? How can I get them to release Morgana? How can I save her? Michelle, please, you have to run. You're in danger here. I would love to, but the door is blocked. So tell me, who told you about Morgana? Morgana herself. Who told you? I'm telling the truth. I know what I know because she told me. I suppose it doesn't matter where you get your information. Getting rid of you still means one less person who knows. Michelle, kill him. Don't. Can I play with him first? No, do it quickly. I'm tired of listening to this madman's ramblings. No, please, don't do this. We've only come here to save your souls. Because we believed you weren't truly evil. So why? Alright, I'm not happy about it, though. You're putting more than just your next lives at risk. You'll lose the people you care about in this life, too. People are going to die on the day of the Harvest Festival. Many people are going to die. You may be able to avoid that if you set her free. And also change your own fates as well. I can't listen to this anymore. Kill this madman now. Don't please. I'm begging you, don't. It really is a damn shame. I was hoping I could have some fun with you. Michelle! It happened in the blink of an eye. The man steps forward, and the moment his sword's out of its sheath, I'm toppling backward. Michelle! No, Michelle, no. Why? Please, no, this can't be. Michelle, say something, please. Michelle! Giselle's scream fades into the distance. As the three men watch, I make a heavy thud against the cold floor. You clean up this mess, Mell. Last thing I want is that damn nun suspecting anything. Don't you vomit, boy. Make any more of a mess and you'll be joining him. All three of their voices are growing muted now. As my vision goes red, I realize I can see my own body off in the distance. What pains me most, though, is that Giselle had to witness that too. But everything's slipping away from me so quickly, I don't have time to come up with anything to say before it all goes black. So there is an achievement for seeing all the dead ends here. I didn't get all of them, I know, and I don't really care to go back for all of them. We did miss trying to tell Mell that Michelle was actually God, but oh well. I don't even know if I'm actually going to go back through this for the extra scenes that are unlocked after you clear it the first time. Tread carefully. We don't have much time, but it's in our best interest to tread carefully. There's too much we don't know yet. It would not be wise to make a rash decision. With him as tense and suspicious as he is now, it won't be easy to get his key or persuade him to tell us how he ended up here. Furthermore, my experiences with the Three Shades tells me if I'm not careful, I could be putting myself in unimaginable danger. A brief flash of what might have happened had I spoken too soon crosses my mind, sending a chill down my spine. If I want to get Mell on my side, I'm going to need something more, something decisive. Something that'll convince me he needs to come clean and set Morgana free. Regardless, being cautious isn't going to mean much if I can't get them to let us stay in the mansion. We need to be nearby to keep an eye on things, gather information. How to go about that, though? Assuming he's not voluntarily involved, maybe all we have to do is ask for his help in setting Morgana free and he'll work with us. Perhaps. Being so direct will only invite more suspicion, but she's probably on the right track. When I met his shadow, it was burdened with great regret. He begged me to help him. My remark about the saint's blood was based on stories I once heard about a person whose blood was said to have healing properties. Stories? Maybe they haven't made it out this far, I don't know, but they tell of a girl born in a distant village, a saint and the daughter of God. I thought that perhaps the nun might be the saint spoken of in the stories, and I was hoping for the opportunity to see a miracle performed with my own eyes. I have to say, you looked more angry than excited. I didn't hide it very well, I guess. Maybe it appeared that way to you, but I've never had a very friendly face. If you say so, as long as you're telling the truth. I myself have to wonder, why did my remarks seem to bother you so much? What? Is there something more to the saint's blood than you're telling me? No. Something that would make you want to get me alone and interrogate me. There's nothing. I just, didn't want to scare anyone with all the talk of blood, since there's not actually any in it. And I didn't know about the story, so... It's just medicine, I swear. As you say. It's got nothing to do with the saint in your stories. To change the subject, could I ask you to convince the nun to allow me to stay here? Weren't you listening? We can't take anyone in right now. Which is why I'm asking for your recommendation. You live on the premises, don't you? I'm more a supervisor of sorts. Then you should have some say in the matter. Why? Until the Harvest Festival is all I'm asking. Why not get a room at the inn? If you need money, I'll spare you some coin. I must stay in this mansion. But why? Those are my instructions. What? You know the stained glass window in the chapel behind the pulpit. I was named after the Archangel Michael depicted there. The angel came to me in a vision, instructing me to watch over the festival here. From where you are standing, you couldn't possibly have seen the window in that much detail. You couldn't. I get it. You've been to the church before and you're acting like you haven't. There's a metal door off to the side leading to an observation tower. Yeah, you can see the tower from outside. Inside is a long spiral staircase, not made of stone, but wood. There's a single door at the top of the stairs. How... What are you really here for? All that vision stuff is a lie. I am not here to cause you any trouble. In fact, I am on your side. You show up out of nowhere and expect me to believe your nonsense? All I ask is for you to allow me to stay until the day of the festival. If you can do that for me, then I'll make you the promise I could not before. I have not forgotten your pleas for salvation. I know you want to be free. Let me guess, you saw that in a vision too? If you want to call it that, then you can. I've never once asked for you to save me. You're mad. But, fine. I've got nothing to hide anyway. If you say you're a friend, the Saintess should be willing to accommodate you. Wait, I already told you you were my friend, didn't I? I'll try and persuade her. I don't know what your deal is, but try not to cause any trouble, okay? For your own sake. I won't. Only until the festival. You're not getting another day out of me or her. And this isn't your home, so don't act like it is. Of course. Thank you. You know, I never did get your name. It's Michelle. Right, after the Archangel Michael. Just like you said. I've never really cared much for Michael, to be honest. He weighs your soul in one hand on his perfectly balanced scales, then delivers its punishment with the sword in the other. He's not an angel of salvation. Out of curiosity, could you perhaps be... No, never mind. It's turned into a bit of a storage area, but there's an open room we can use. I'll show you the way. I appreciate your courtesy. Well, this is just lovely. There are cracks in the ceiling and the walls peeling off. There is a bed at least, but it's coated in dust. This was a storeroom when I lived here, as I recall. Sorry about the condition. I didn't choose a bad room for you on purpose, I promise. If you want to sleep somewhere more comfortable, you're not going to find that here. Not a problem. I'm grateful to have a room at all. If you say so. Well, I have work to do, so I should be on my way. I'll talk to the Saintess as promised. I imagine she'll make supper for you at some point. But do keep your crazy talk to yourself around her. I'll make a note of it, thank you. See you. We made it work, somehow. Somehow. It's a lot of pressure being under that much suspicion, huh? My heart was pounding the whole time. And then, the Archangel Michael came to me in a vision stuff. I never expected you to go there. Why'd you tell him that anyway? Because I didn't think telling him I know the future and I need your help to change it would have gone over very well. Besides, those who yearn for redemption have a tendency to latch onto the spiritual. I thought taking advantage of that would work to our benefit. You know, I bet you make a pretty good con artist, Michelle. I did what I thought was necessary. I know. Besides, you have every intention of keeping your promise, don't you? Whether or not Mell can be saved is up to him. I will lend him my hand, though. Oh, you say it's all on him, but deep down you know you're on his side. We're complete strangers to this Mell, but I can't bring myself to think of him that way. We just met today, but it feels like we're reuniting with an old friend. He's the same old Mell. And you were actually there, a part of his life, which I imagine makes the sentiment all the stronger. You don't feel the same way? I don't think of him as a total stranger, no. However, nothing. I was about to say something incredibly cynical, but I caught myself. What? It's nothing. Don't worry about it. If you say so. I was always the one with nothing to offer, powerless to be of anyone's help. So if anything's motivating me, it's not my concern for the boy, but a desire to prove that someone like me can do something. It didn't take much arm twisting to get him to give us a room, so who knows? Maybe he'll come over to our side easier than either of us expect. Him giving us a room was not simply out of kindness. Keeping me nearby allows him to keep an eye on me. He doesn't trust me, but he also doesn't know enough about me to decide what to do yet. He needs time, and doing this gives him that time. If he decides to keep me around is not to his advantage, he will act accordingly. Do you really think he'll do anything to hurt you? Mel's a kind boy, and, well, to be frank, I don't think he has the spine for it. It's hard to say, but even if he doesn't, we still have the other two men to worry about. Nevertheless, his cooperation will undoubtedly be the easiest of the three to gain. We were fortunate to run into him first. What makes you say that? Did you ever have a chance to see the shadows trapped in the mansion? Shadows? I might have. But around the time Hayden Rhodes passed away, I wasn't really there anymore. I stopped thinking, stopped trying to make sense of the things inhabiting the house. I had become merely another part of the cursed mansion. I was only able to converse with them after I had reclaimed myself. I suppose, much like the rules differ between the realms of the living and the dead, so too they differ for those who have lost their grip on reality. As I was searching for a way to get you out of the tower, I encountered and spoke with the three men's shadows. Of the three, Mell was the least threatening. He bears a great deal of regret. He yearns for someone to save him. I heard him muttering, "This isn't what I wanted." He doesn't want to be involved in this. Someone else is holding the reins. My first guess would be the Lord, but regardless, they are not equals in this endeavor. If he wants out, then maybe he would have agreed to help if we told him we were here to save Morgana. Carelessly revealing our hand at this stage did not seem wise. It would have never gotten to this point if it were so easy to stop. So I guess our first task is to earn Mel's trust. Morgana's death is in 3 days. We have until then to get all 3 keys. It won't be easy. I mean, we weren't even present in this role until today. Exactly. We have no one to vouch for us, no one who even knows who we are. But we have knowledge, quite a bit of it in fact. We not only know what happens in this era, but you showed me their next lives as well. From that, we can deduce how they might behave and to whom they have their ties. You're right, we do. We know things we should have no way of knowing. And we can use that knowledge to our advantage. Their various interpersonal relationships are where we can get our edge, I think. They each have their reasons for locking Morgana up, and if I'm right, they're doing it for other people. It's these powerful bonds driving them. Mel's driving force would be his sister, for instance. Are they mere bonds, or is it fate that ties them together? You're right, we should find and talk to his sister. Mell is more likely to act if it's coming from her than us. I agree. If his darling sister tells him to stop, he won't have any reason to continue his involvement. Knowing how the first tale ended makes me slightly uncertain. But for now, we can work under the assumption that he does genuinely care for her. What do you want to bet she's somewhere nearby? I mean, she will be. It was her death that sparked the chaos on the day of the festival. Right, it was. No, you're exactly right. But what I was going to say is that people tend to keep those they care most about close by. It would appear I have a bad tendency to focus too much on the facts. That was entirely unnecessary of me. Giselle did not need to be reminded of that. I'm sorry. What for? For being careless with my words, inconsiderate. No need to apologize for the truth. Besides, you and considerate are like oil and water. And today, you're the fire to my oil. We have 3 days to stop this tragedy. Let's get to work. Let's. We'll probably have more luck asking than just searching for her. If we can't find Mell, then none might know. Off we go. As I step into the chapel, I see an old woman waving to the nun as he heads to the door. Old man waving to the nun as he heads for the door. The man is practically beaming, and judging by the vial in his hand, he's happy about more than simply having the chance to see her. Is that saint's blood? According to Morgana's account, a disease began spreading through the city at the Harvest Festival, eventually eradicating the population. In a time like this, where medical knowledge is so limited, a plague would be almost unstoppable. And the sight of so many people dying so quickly could appear to be the work of a demon or curse. We come from the future, so we know just how dangerous this is. But they have no idea. Morgana described it as a tale that could have only taken place in that era of miracles and spirituality, and about that she couldn't be more right. Could we maybe warn everyone against taking the medicine? I assume the sickness was caused by them ingesting blood at any rate. It's not medicine they've been given, but bottled disease, like some sick joke. If we could convince them to stop taking saint's blood, then maybe that would prevent the city from being destroyed. But the fact that it's being distributed in a house of the Lord, and peddled as a miracle cure, plays right into their deep-rooted spirituality. Would it even be possible to convince them otherwise? And besides, it's not them we came here to save, but... No, that's veering too far off our intended path. We need to find the truth and save Morgana's soul. Putting ourselves out like that is only going to get us unwanted attention, make people suspicious, and we don't have that kind of time. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, it's just, knowing what they're doing to themselves, I couldn't help but think that maybe there was something we could do. Especially considering how it all turns out. I understand the sentiment. Or rather, I understand your reasoning. But for me, Morgana takes priority over any of them. And you over everything. Releasing Morgana's soul, and saving yours as well, Giselle. If we can eliminate the mansion's darkness, then you won't have to be trapped as it's made. I have no interest in being the hero of the masses. Let's go ask about Mell's sister, then. Okay. I turn my gaze back toward the nun to find her kneeling in one of the pews. She bows her head and begins to whisper a prayer. There's no one else in the chapel. Now's the perfect time to ask. Hearing me approach, she falls silent and turns to face me, wearing her usual disarming smile. Hello, Michelle. Mell's just here. He told me everything. Can't turn away a friend of Mell's now, can we? Sorry for turning you down earlier. No worries. I did a poor job of explaining myself. So, did you need something? Let me guess, medicine? No, I'm in perfectly good health. I figured you were lying. I can ask her about Saint's Blood some other time. And while I have a number of questions about the man she's close with, too, right now Mell's sister is priority. Are you familiar with Mell's younger sister? She has flaxen hair much like him. You mean Nellie? Are you her friend, too? I would say we're more... You're better off saying you're friends. Friends, yes. What about her? I would like to speak with her. I was wondering if you know where I might find her. Millie should be down at the cottage, I believe. The cottage? Yep, that's where I stay too. I don't sleep in the mansion itself. So you don't live here, but only work here? Right. For one, there are men who live here. The Lord likes to show up on occasion too, and we can't have a nun wandering around while he's here. So you and Nellie live together then? Yep, we have for about 6 months or so, ever since she and Mell showed up. I wanted to let her stay with her brother, Since this is technically church property, we have to keep the boys and girls separate. I see. I'm so glad to hear Nellie's got a friend, though. What? She's not from around here, so she doesn't have many acquaintances. And with how sick she can get, she doesn't spend much time outside. Which is a shame, because she's such a sweet little girl. I'm her friend, of course, but I've got responsibilities. I can only be around so often. So I'm sure she'd be delighted to have someone else to talk to. It would be my pleasure. Could you, tell me the way to the cottage, then? Sure, it's not that far from here. You go down... The directions I got from the nun led me to a place I know from my own time. It's the same building where the nun who had... It's the same building where the man who had been ordered to keep me under surveillance stayed. Sunlight seeps relentlessly through the trees, and I find myself having to look down at my feet as I follow the path. It's blindingly bright, painful. How are you holding up, Michelle? I'll be alright. The sun's past its peak. In a few hours it won't be nearly as bad. Don't push yourself, okay? Okay. The trek is a reminder of just how inconvenient my body always was. And having this chance to experience being alive again comes with both the good parts and the bad. But now is hardly the time to complain about my sensitivity to the sun. It's not long before we reach a clearing, a small cottage surrounded by a small garden coming into view. And crouching by a flower bed picking flowers is the flaxen-haired girl. Are you Nellie? Though several details of her appearance don't match my memory of her, she still has that distinct hair. It could be nobody else. This Nellie is considerably thinner and looks rather frail. The effects of her being ill, I presume. Who are you? My name is Michelle. I have a few questions to ask you. Can we talk for a bit? I would have thought she'd said something by now. You're being way too blunt, Michelle. You've gone and scared her. What else was I supposed to say? You have to approach slowly, carefully. Go on, give her a smile. A nice, soft smile. Smile. I'm only here to talk. There's nothing to be afraid of. Okay, that is definitely not a nice smile. I can't even see it and I can still tell. What did you expect? I can't just smile on demand. It's a bad man. A bad man has come to kidnap me. Save me, dearest Mell, before this bad man does bad things to me. Calm down, please. I'm not going to do anything to you. Don't get any closer. I know you're trying to do bad things to me. I'm not going to do bad things to you. I couldn't, even if I wanted to. Don't move or I'll call the guards on you. Please, calm down. I mean you no harm, honestly. That's what all bad men say. Giselle, don't just watch. This would be a fantastic time for a little advice. Got it. Maybe she'll calm down if you mention Mell. You're a genius. I'm a friend of Mell's. He was telling me about you, and how you wanted someone to talk to. He asked me to go keep you company. Mell asked you to come talk to me? He did. Do you trust me now? So that makes you his friend, then. As much as it pains me to admit it. Michelle! What on earth possessed you to say that? Slip of the tongue. You and him, is that so? Yes. You're pretty old to be friends with my Mell. Are you really, really, really his friend? Really? Then prove it. How so? If you're really his friend, then you should be able to tell me all about him. Why in God's name would you ever subject me to that? Do you not like Mell, Michelle? That's not it. We're just incompatible. Okay, here we go. First question, what does my Mell like most of all? Nellie. You think so? You think I'm his favorite thing in the whole wide world? I like to believe that's what he thinks. I think it'd be wonderful if I could always be his number one. Her excessive love for her brother is still out in full force, I see. Second question, what kind of person is my Mell? I gotta. He's a spineless chump. How could you? I misspoke. You claim you're his friend, then you go and call him spineless. You're not his friend at all, are you? No, I am. I just believe in order to be friends with someone, you need to acknowledge and accept the good and bad aspects of them. Or that's what Didi says anyway. Fair enough, I suppose. I don't think he's spineless at all, but maybe he acts differently around you. He's my prince, after all. I don't particularly care for that word myself. It reminds me too much of Morgana's incessant harassment. Okay, final question. Describe what he looks like for me. I'm far better looking. That's not what I asked. You're just full of surprises today, aren't you, Michelle? It sounded funnier in my head. I will admit, you do have a few things in common with Mell. Such as? He's not really all that masculine, and neither are you. You know, at least in appearance, you might make an okay prince. You don't sound very flattered. Why would I be? She said I wasn't masculine. Not everyone has to be big and beefy. I like you just the way you are, Michelle. I know you're trying to make me feel better, but... Well, that's the last of my questions. You're not a complete stranger, it seems. Sure, why not? You can be my Mell's friend. Why, thank you. This is great. I was sure you were a bad man. Why is it that the first impression everyone has of me is that is never that I'm someone decent? Any friend of Mell's must be a good person. No, an amazing person. That's quite the faith you have in him. Why wouldn't I? He's my big brother. That's some circular logic. Is it just you? Is Mell not coming? He's rather busy at the moment. He always has something to take care of, that Mell. He's hardly given me any attention these past couple months. But that's okay, because today I've got you to keep me company. Yes, you do. I can't stay very long, though. Alright, just stay until sundown, then. You had something you wanted to ask me, didn't you? Well, if you're a good enough friend, I'll tell you anything you want to know. And how do I go about that? Talking. Lots and lots of talking. You have to keep me entertained. You're asking far too much of me. She's not asking much at all. She just wants to talk. Do you think someone who spent 13 years in isolation knows the first thing about holding a pleasant conversation? Hey now, I was there for a year of that. I'll help you come up with topics, so go on. Do you not want to talk to me? No, I do. I'm just not much of a conversationalist. Okay, then instead of talking, you can sing. I've never seen a minstrel before, but I've always wanted to know what kind of songs they sing. Will you show me? I've never seen one myself either. But I have heard some second-hand accounts of the songs of traveling jongleurs. Very well then. I'll teach you a song an old acquaintance of mine heard while traveling. I can't wait. Here goes. The silence is deafening. I'm shocked. I don't think I've ever heard someone sing so badly. Me neither. I'm flabbergasted. Let's hear you try then. That's enough singing for today. I don't want my ears to fall off. What a vicious little girl. I know, let's bake something. Bake something? Yep, come on inside. I made some jam earlier today, and I want to make it into a pretty little pie. You get to help me with that. I'm not much of a... Come on, get a move on. You either help or you don't get to be my friend. As you wish. This is not going to end well. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. How on earth do you manage to turn a pie into this monstrosity? I gave it my best shot. There's only one explanation. You're possessed. It's true, he is. I'm a perfectly good chef. Michelle's just naturally terrible at it. God, could this go any worse? I can't get this to Mell. Jerk, dimwit, loser. I'm sorry. Well, I guess we've got no choice but to eat it ourselves. I'll set the table. What? And I'll make us some tea while I'm at it. You know, I've always dreamed of this. Sitting around a table with a friend, having snacks and just talking. Oh? Yep, and for that I can deal with a little awful disgusting pie. It's just too bad I couldn't share it with my Mell too. I see. For all her complaining, she seems to be enjoying herself. I can only imagine how lonely she is out here. While she may act all bright and cheerful, beneath is a real sense of isolation. And the same can be said about the girl behind the first door. As vivacious and pushy as she could be, you could see hints of loneliness behind it all. Her brother was practically all she had while she lived in the mansion. But if I were to guess, that's not the life she really wanted. I bet she would have preferred to be able to go out and play with friends. Being born into a noble family takes away a lot of your freedom. Even in such drastically different time periods, she's still the same girl inside. Actually, maybe the parallels extend beyond her as a person and into the course of her two different lives. Perhaps that means all those who are reconstructed at Morgana's wish are destined to live similar lives. Though destined might be putting it too nicely. Nellie. I would be glad to lend you my ear if you'd like. You can talk about the weather or your brother, anything you want. You will? Great, take a seat. I've got lots I want to talk about. More than you can possibly imagine. And you'll never guess what Mell said next. That I meant more to him than anyone in the world. So I'm growing flowers out in the garden, right? Well, when I've got enough of them, I'm going to make a big bouquet and give it to Mell. Back at home, we got this really, really big yard with this huge tree we used to take naps under when it was nice out. So what do you think about the tea I made? The flower petal's really what ties it all together. Oh, and you won't believe what happened after that. Care for another cup of tea? I'll make as much as you can drink. No, thank you, I'm fine. I feel like all I did was nod and listen, and the bulk of it was about Mell, no less. I haven't talked that much in ages. Time sure flew by, huh? The sun's starting to set. Do you and the nun not speak much? We do, but it's kind of, I don't know, not really the same with her. It just feels, I guess, like she's too important for me to waste her time. Being the lady in charge of the church and pretty much the whole estate. And what about Mell? Does he not visit you very often? No, he does. He comes to see me a lot. Then why? He hasn't met himself lately. My old Mell would always happily listen to whatever I had to say, but now, he seems kind of distracted? It sounds like he's really busy. When he visits, he doesn't stay for long, and he has to go back to the mansion at night. I'll try to get him to stay longer, but it never works. And he always avoids the question when I ask him why he can't. It feels like he's hiding something. Knowing what he's hiding, I can understand why he wouldn't want to talk about it. He could never tell his precious little sister that he and two other men have a girl locked up in a tower, and that he's stealing her blood for her sake. I wish things could have stayed the way they were before. The way they were before. When it was just the two of us living together. I know we're more stable here and I can get medicine I need from the church. But I'd rather stay being sick than be so alone. You said you came here around 6 months ago. Yep, it was just the two of us before that. Well, before that, at our old house, we had a bunch of servants. But I never really liked it there either. With that many people around, I just felt more alone. I liked it so much better when it was just me and Mell. Is that really what you want? To be sick and in constant pain? It's better than being alone. Mell just doesn't get it. He doesn't understand that the loneliness is so much worse. Maybe that's just a guy thing. They don't get what it's like to be ignored. What it feels like to be left in the dark, not knowing anything. We don't understand, no. We think saving their lives matters above all. Huh? Even if there's a cost to saving that life, we're incapable of gauging how great it is. We're unable to see how egotistical, how self-serving our actions are. Are you talking about yourself? The same can be said of Mell as well, I imagine. Mell's still around, though. He's there, but it's like he's trying to avoid me. All I want is for him to be here, to be with me. That's all I really want. He doesn't even have to be a perfect fairy tale prince. Have you ever told him that? What? Have you ever told him that he doesn't have to be the perfect brother? That you'd be happy with just having him there? Have you ever put those feelings into words? I'm always telling him I want him around. And that he doesn't have to be your prince to do so? He's already said he'll be my prince, and he always smiles whenever I talk about it. So how am I supposed to turn around and say he doesn't have to be my prince anymore? I know it's not your intention to force an ideal image onto him, but unconsciously, subconsciously, that's what you're doing when you talk like that. And Mell, he's trying to meet those expectations. Actually, he may not be conscious of it himself, and he just believes deep down that that's the kind of person he's supposed to be. Or more accurately, he seems to have a need to make himself look good to others. He believes that if he's good to others, they'll be good to him in return. Am I a burden? I can assure you, he's better off with you around. But I am a burden to him right now, aren't I? Be honest with me. Yes, you are. Does Mell not like me anymore? Is that why he's been avoiding me? I promise you, that's not the case. At the very least, he's doing what he's doing now because of how much he cares about you. You promise? I promise. I love him. I love my Mell so very much. Too much, in fact. To be honest, I know I do. I understand that, really. I know I'm making his life difficult. But Mell's all I have. He's the only person I can latch onto. And I can't control my feelings. It can be difficult to tame your emotions at your age. There's nothing wrong with that. However, you should have taken stock of those emotions, sorted through everything you've got on your mind, and then sat down with him to talk it out. Even if those things you feel may seem wrong or unspeakable. You should have opened up to him, taken the time to figure out what works best for the both of you. You too needed to face the things you carried in your heart, the things your brother carried in his. By not doing so, you never quite end up on the same page. Small misunderstandings pile up until it comes crashing down. If they had just talked it out, communicated their feelings to one another, maybe their tragedy could have been avoided, even with Morgana's curse in play. If Nellie had only had a chance to come to grips with her feelings for Mell, then maybe things would have escalated the way they did. Her actions that night were arguably hysteric, but she wasn't always like that. I'm sorry. That was out of line. None of this is any of my business, I know. No need to apologize. You're a very curious man, you know that? Huh? We only met a couple of hours ago, but you talk like you've known me my whole life. It's like you can hear everything I'm thinking, see everything in my heart. Did Mell tell you all that? No, he did not tell me much. I didn't think so. He doesn't know me that well. It's not too late, is it? If I talk to him, really tell him how I feel, do you think Mell will listen? I know he will. It won't make things worse? It won't make him uncomfortable? There is a chance that rifts may form at first, but those cracks can be filled again, and I promise you, the result will be something much better than if you had held it in. It will all work out. Okay, next time I see Mell, I'll tell him. I'll tell him he doesn't have to be my prince. Good. You really are a curious man. You're the first person to ever talk to me like I'm a real person. Everyone loves to say how sweet and adorable I am, but that's it. I was only ever their make-believe princess. You are a real person, I assure you. Thanks. You know, after talking to you, I feel a whole lot better. Like I can do anything. I'm glad you came by today. And I'm glad I could meet you in person. It's weird. It really feels like we've known each other our entire lives. I've known of you for some time. Or perhaps I should say, what you will become. Huh? Ignore me. Was that supposed to be a pickup line? Bad, Michelle. I'm still too young for that. No, I wasn't. And now you're getting flustered. I swear, that's not what that was. I know. Jeez, do you really think I trust you that little? Sorry. Oops, I just had the most wonderful idea. Oh? Yep. Instead of being my friend, I'll let you be something even better. You're my second brother. Second brother? A brother is much more special to me than a friend. Though obviously you can't be my number one. I'm blanking. She's taken a liking to you. This is good for us. I'm not sure how I feel about her putting so much trust in me so quickly, though. The amount of time it takes isn't important. What matters is that you listen to her, you understand her, and you treat her like a real person. In her eyes, you're someone she can depend on. Do you not want me as your sister? Actually, I was the youngest child, so having a younger sibling would be... Would be what? Come on, spit it out. It would be rather nice. You bet it would. Who wouldn't want an adorable little sister like me? That's a bit narcissistic, wouldn't you say? Well, it's true, isn't it? Go on, tell me I'm adorable. Tell me I'm adorable, dearest Michelle. What? Well, don't just stare at me. If my Mell were here, he wouldn't bat an eye. Please don't compare me to him. You know, now might be a good time to tell her about Morgana. Part of me feels like I'd be taking advantage of her newly earned trust, but it'll certainly be easier to bring up now while she holds me in such high regard. She's much more likely to believe me. You're right. I agree, now's probably the best chance we'll get. Especially considering how little time we have. I can't shake the feeling I'm rushing things. But at this point, all I can do is go with it and pray it works out. If we had the time, I think we'd all like to hold off. Nellie looks like she's having so much fun. And even you seem to be enjoying yourself. No, I'm just... It's nothing to be ashamed of. I'm having fun watching you myself. Let's do it. Let's tell her about Morgana. We have to do it at some point anyway. Let's. Nellie, do you mind if I ask you a question? What is it, dearest Michelle? Ask me anything you want. Have you heard of something called Saint's Blood? You mean the medicine? Yes, except it's not actually. I know, yeah. It's actually the Saintess's blood, not medicine. But no telling. You what? One day before we moved here, when it was just me and Mell, the Saintess came to visit. My mind had been all foggy for a long time, like I was not quite asleep, but not quite awake either. But when I heard her soft, pleasant voice, the fog cleared a bit. And then she performed a miracle for me. Blood is awful and gross and terrible, but the Saintess's, hers is different. Hers is pure. So you're saying you know everything, Nellie. About the observation tower and... Huh? The tower? What about it? That's where they keep her. What? No, the Saintess is always in the chapel. And she stays here with me. She comes back at nights. In fact, she should be here any minute now. So, she thinks the Saintess is the nun and not Morgana. No, Nellie. That blood comes from... I'm really, really grateful to her. She didn't just perform the one miracle, she's been taking care of me while I'm here too. So whenever I see her, I always say thank you. I thank her for sharing her blood with me. And she always says it's nothing with a big smile. Nellie, no. The nun has no idea. She just assumes Nellie's thanking her for giving her the medicine. I owe the Saintess my life. No, Nellie. She's not the one you should be grateful to. Huh? The girl you owe your life to has been locked up, suffering, and alone even as we speak. But the Saintess is at the church. The girl who came to see you is not the nun everyone calls the Saintess. Her name is Morgana. What are you talking about, Michelle? The Saintess is locked up? Stop that. I have no idea what you're talking about. Everything I'm telling you is the truth. Please believe me. While you were lying in bed, sick and barely conscious, did you get a good look at the Saintess who gave you her blood? You didn't, did you? You couldn't make out any details because your mind was a haze. And then, when you arrived at this estate, you met a woman who people call the Saintess, giving out medication known as Saint's blood. So you assumed she was the one who had cured you. That's the story you chose to believe. If what you're saying is true, then where's the other Saintess, the one who came to see me? At the top of the mansion's observation tower. The door to the tower is locked. She's imprisoned there. And how do you know this? Because it wouldn't be wise to tell her from the future just yet. That would only serve to confuse her further. All I need to convince her right now is that Morgana is being held in the tower. There's an idea. Perhaps I can borrow from the story the white-haired girl told Mell. I received a letter. A letter? There's a single window far out of reach in the chamber at the top of the tower. A dove flew in through the window, so she wrote a letter, tying it to the bird's leg, and released it in the hopes someone would come to set her free. That letter ended up in my hands. If that's the case, then who locked her up? Was it the Saintess, the one I know? No, I don't believe the nun is aware. I think she's simply doing her job in good faith. Then who? Michelle. I know very well what I'm about to say will likely crush her, but I can't let that stop me. Who would do such a terrible thing? Nellie, I want you to brace yourself for what I'm about to say. There are 3 men participating in Morgana's imprisonment. And one of those 3 is your brother, Mell. I understand that that's the last thing you wanted to hear, but please believe me, I would not say something so upsetting lightly. I wish to save Morgana, the true saint, and I would like your assistance. Without your help, I can't get her out of that tower. I need you to get through to Mell, otherwise both he and Morgana will remain entrapped. That's not true. Nellie. You're lying, you have to be. My Mell would never do something so horrible. You're a terrible liar. It's true, I swear to you. You think I'm going to believe that? My Mell's an amazing, wonderful person. He's not cruel and evil. He's good and kind like a prince. And a prince would never lock someone up. I know you're not blind, Nellie. You can see all that your prince talk has been putting pressure on him. So, you think that's going to change my mind? He has no reason to do any of that. But he does, Nellie. He's certainly not happy about it, no, but he's doing it for you. What do you mean? He needs her blood to keep you healthy. So, to ensure he always had a supply. But no, and despite that, Saint's blood probably doesn't even have healing properties. No one benefits from doing this. Not you, not Mell, and certainly not Morgana. And I don't think anyone can stop him except you. Mell won't listen to me. Did you not just say you would talk things through with him? Just shut up. Stop talking already. I'm done listening to you. Nellie. I'll never believe you. You're not my brother anymore. You're just a horrible, horrible man. Who do you think you are to march in here and try to make my Mell into the bad guy? After I made you my second brother. What's wrong with you? I trusted you. I ate nasty pie and had tea with you. But you're just a mean, evil man here to turn me against my Mell. I know you don't want to believe me, but I'm telling you the truth, every word. I beg you to open your eyes. Ask him yourself. If you don't believe me, then ask Mell about Morgana. I guarantee you, he'll panic. Enough already. Get out of here. Get out this instant. Nellie. Don't say my name. Just go away. Get out of here. I don't want to see you ever again. I should have chased you off the moment I saw you. Get out now. I pray you can find it in yourself to open your eyes and face the truth. Get out. One last thing before I go, Nellie. It was my only option, I know that. But I feel like all I accomplished by telling her was bringing her more pain. It's a difficult balance. You just have to pray that you were able to get through to her. I'm sure she'll come around. If only we had a little more time. In 3 days it will all be over. Morgana and the entire web of people connected to her will die. That's not enough time. Let's return to the mansion and look for Mell. I would like to speak with him. If there's a chance we can get even the smallest bit of Nellie's feelings through to him, maybe he'll have a change of heart. Hopefully. It's hardly going to be elegant, but it's what must be done. Ah, did you just get back? The scientist was telling me you went to see Nellie. What do you think? Sweet girl, isn't she? That she is. Though she can be a bit of a handful at times. I'm glad you could keep her company for a bit. Now, just to be sure, you kept a lid on all your crazy talk, right? She treated me to some tea, nothing more. The stuff with the flower petals in it, yeah? She thinks it's some kind of charm to make it taste better. Girls seem to have a thing for stuff like that. Mell. Could you spare a bit of time for me? We need to talk. Sure. Can it wait a bit, though? I have to run a little errand after supper. When I'm done with that, I'll meet you in your room. Alright. You think the errand is... bringing Morgana her meal, presumably. We might be able to catch the three of them opening the door if we trail Mell. It's too big a risk. Mell's already wary enough as it is. I concur. And we don't know how the other two men might react either. It's best to play it safe. No one's going to come to our defense if we're caught. Not at this point in time. so we'd be better off waiting in our room. Agreed. Though winter has receded and spring is well upon the land, there's still a sharp chill to the night air. Even with the windows shut, the wind still manages to slip through the cracks, making the candle flame waver. Neither Giselle nor I say much of anything, but nevertheless, when she does speak, the sound of her voice, soft and pleasant, relaxes my nerves. The faint sound of her breathing reminds me I'm not alone, that she's there, always watching over me. When the candle is about half gone, the door swings open. Sorry it took so long. What did you want to talk about? You didn't bring anyone with you. No, I didn't. Who did you think I would bring? No one. I was just checking. Now, I'll get straight to the point. You're afflicted with a great deal of remorse, are you not, Mell? Pardon? I know what you're doing, what you're involved in. I know the girl at the top of the observation tower very well. Her name is Morgana, and you have her imprisoned in the tower. The door requires 3 keys to open, of which you possess 1. You need her for her miracle blood. How? I came here to stop you. How do you know any of that? It's not possible she could have told anyone. Did one of them tell you? No, it wasn't them. I was told all this by Morgana herself. How could she? What I'm about to tell you is going to seem impossible, but every word of it is the truth. I am not from this time. Many, many years after her death, Morgana's soul told me about what happened here. What are you even talking about? She's still alive. You're not from this time, what? Are you mad? Can you come up with any other explanation for how I know everything I would know? There's a single window at the top of the tower, a small, insignificant thing that sits high atop the wall, and entirely useless for communicating with the outside world. In 3 days' time during the Harvest Festival, Morgana will die. And I must prevent that from happening. Prevent it? To do that, I need your key. Will you give it to me? There you go, talking nonsense again. You know, I warned you not to kick up any dust, for your own sake. I guess that didn't get through, huh? I don't care who you are or where you came from. All that matters is that you intend to stand in our way. What, did you think I was just a helpless little boy? That you could take my key without any trouble? Well, you'd be right about that. If it was only me, stealing my key and setting her free would be a trivial matter. But it's not only me. And the other 2, they won't hesitate to kill you. Your life, anyone's life, means nothing to them. You don't know what they're like, how terrifying they can be. They're killers. I'll tell them everything you told me. I'll tell them you know our secret. And don't come crying to me when they come for you. I warned you. Is that what you want? Will you find the comfort you seek by being their devoted little slave and keeping Morgana imprisoned in that tower? What else can I... If you feel at all ashamed about your part in this, if you want to do something to correct it, then you need to take that step. You can't fix this problem on your own, no, but I am here to help. I'm not ashamed about anything. Don't lie to yourself. Don't act like you know how I feel. What the hell's your deal anyway? You show up out of nowhere, spying all this, I'll save you, and I'm here to help rubbish. You need to do this for your sister. See, now that's ridiculous. If I wash my hands of this, I won't have access to the witch's blood anymore. And without that, Nellie can't get better. She'll die without that blood. Her blood has no miraculous healing powers. You only believe it does, making it appear to work. You're mad. Morgana's Sava's blood is not curing Nellie. In fact, it may very well be killing her. If you keep giving her that blood, Nellie will also lose her life during the Harvest Festival. What? You're standing on the precipice of a horrific tragedy, and you're going to take everyone down with you if you don't turn back now. What are you... All three of you are going to lose everyone on the day of the festival, and there's only one way to prevent that. You have to set Morgana free. You're insane. If you think I would believe that. Nellie's going to die? Could you have told a more mean-spirited lie? You're the one who's trying to kill her. I'm just trying to save her. And you're going about it the entirely wrong way. Do you have any idea how lonely your sister is right now? You should but be at her side. That's what you should be doing instead of stealing a poor girl's blood. I've heard enough. What do you know? If I lose Nellie, I'll have no one. My whole world will collapse. This was the only way I could keep that from happening. This was my best option, my only option. So no, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep Morgana locked up, and I'm going to keep stealing her blood. And I'll hand you over to the other two. I'll have them kill you. You'll regret ever showing your face. Mell, is that really true? Do you really have the Saintess locked up? Why, what are you doing here, Nellie? That man told me I had to talk to you. And he said if I didn't have the courage to do it myself, to wait outside his room tonight, because he was going to get the truth from you. You conniving son of a... You were planning this all along. Why would you tell Nellie? Why would you bring her of all people into this? Mell? Tell me, Mell, is it true? Nellie, Are you really keeping the Saintess prisoner and stealing her blood? And you said you would have him killed. I never thought you were such a terrible person, Mell. I can't believe you would do such despicable things. No, you're not my brother anymore. Nellie. Michelle, go after her. We have to stop her. Bring her back. Nellie! Don't follow me. Just go away. Leave me alone. Stop. If you run away from him now, Mell will never come back from this. Then why did you tell me? Why did you tell me what he was doing? If you hadn't said anything, everything would still be fine. We wouldn't be in this horrible mess. If you hadn't said anything, I could have kept on believing in him. No, things wouldn't be fine. Why can you not see that? You should put your faith in your ideal brother. You shouldn't put your faith in your ideal brother, but your real one. The boy in that room stricken with regret. If I hadn't said anything, the facade would have ruined you both sooner or later. No, in truth, your relationship is already broken. You were simply ignoring the spreading cracks. I know on some level you'd realize Mell was keeping something incredibly important from you, and that secret was tearing you apart. There's nothing good about this, though. Now we'll never go back to the way we were. We could never go back to what it was like when we were kids. Just the two of us, playing together every day, having fun. Everyone's childhood comes to an end. The flow of time is impartial. You cannot fight it. What you can do, what only you can do, is choose how you change. But I will admit, I am the one who opened your wounds, and now I'm putting the responsibility of tending to them onto you. It's cruel, I know. But if you don't come to terms with Mell and make him withdraw his participation, Even greater suffering awaits you far in the future. It's not over yet, and you cannot let this be where it ends. The bonds you formed over the years are not yet broken, and you can do what I was never able to. You can still repair your relationship. But I'm scared. Scared that my brother, that my Mell could do such terrible things, that he could say he would kill you. He used to be such a good brother. He was always so kind, so friendly to everyone. But it was all a lie. It was all a big act to fool me. No, it was not all an act. There was truth to it. He is a kind-hearted boy, an ordinary young man, whose kindness was twisted by circumstance. And it doesn't matter how good a person someone is. Everyone has the power to do terrible things when backed into a corner. You think you know everything. I know that much. Nellie, if you want your brother back, you have to act now. Please, you must take action. But I'm scared. What am I supposed to say to him? I don't know. I'll be there with you. You don't have to face this alone. There's more to this story than we've heard. We don't know how he got himself involved in this. And I mean to get the rest of it out of him. And you need to be there to hear it. When I hear what he has to say, I try to say something I shouldn't. If I try to say something that will ruin everything, you'll stop me? You're the one who told me to open my eyes and face him. You're the one who made this whole mess. What am I supposed to do if all this destroys everything I have? You said you'd be my brother, right? So be a good brother and help me out here. Promise me, you'll make sure nothing goes bad. You'll do that, won't you? Michelle, just say yes. We won't let this go bad. Have faith in yourself. Faith that you put their relationship on track to recovering. Promise her. Give her the courage she wants from you. You have nothing to fear. I'll be there for you. I'll help you both. Okay, I'll do it. I'll go back. Thank you, Giselle. Don't mention it. Now, let's go see what he has to say for himself. Let's draw back that curtain. Let's. Nellie. Mell. What did you come back for? To ridicule me? I'm not the brother you thought I was. Not at all what you wanted me to be. It's all over. Everything Michelle said is true. There's a girl imprisoned in the tower. A completely innocent girl. The girl who saved your life, in fact. Go on, tell me how cruel and terrible and evil I am. I'm no prince. Here's an idea. Why don't you make him your new prince? You can do it, Nellie. Ask him. You have your reasons, don't you? You have some reason for being a part of this, right? A reason? Yeah, I have a reason, alright. I wanted to save your life. I needed her blood to cure you, so I had her locked up. Tell me the truth. I don't remember much about when the Saintess came to visit, but I do remember little. I remember her saying she would gladly give whatever she could to the sick and needy, which means you had no need to lock her up. It would seem the tale Morgana showed me was true. She really was a saint. Yes, she was. Tell me the truth, Mell. Tell me everything. There's nothing to tell. There is, I know it. There's more to a story than just the facts. The things you thought, the things you felt, are all pieces that combine to make the whole story. Isn't that right, Michelle? You're exactly right. If you hadn't said anything, we could have gone on with our lives as normal. No, Mel, we couldn't have. I thought so too at first, but it's not true. Our normal lives ended long ago. Tell me the truth, Mel. No matter what it is, I can handle it. No, Nellie, you can't. A girl like you who dreams of becoming a princess couldn't possibly bear to see how hideous her brother has become. How can I know if you don't say anything, though? That's how it's always been with us. You were nice to me, and that was all I needed. I never looked beyond the surface. I made you into my ideal brother, and I latched onto that image of you. You're a kind person, Mel. You really are. So kind you played along with my fantasy that you were a prince. But you don't have to act for me anymore. I want to know the real you. I'm all done being a princess. I'm just your little sister now, nothing more. Your one and only little sister, Mel. You need to do this, Mel. You need to tell your story. Until you do, we have no way of understanding what you've been through, what you're going through. No way. If I tell you, you'll lose any hope you had left in me. As Nellie has, you need to release yourself from your own idealized fantasy, Mel. You have someone right here who will accept you for who you are. I know good and well just how hard it can be to have someone dear to you see a side of you that you didn't want to show them. I think you want to get it off your chest, though. And I think you want forgiveness. Fantasies are not everlasting. They all crumble eventually. Show us the real Mel. Tell us your story without embellishments or omissions. Mel. Okay. I'll tell you. Not like I have other options. Nellie, if at any point you can't bear to hear any more, so be it. You're free to leave whenever you like. I won't go anywhere. I can almost guarantee you. I pray that ends up being true. Alright, here goes. The whole story, from start to finish.